Thanks for joining us.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here today. Payments is one of the hottest spaces right now in the mobile world. And to talk about payments, I want to bring out James Barisi. He's the CTO of PayPal, which was the pioneer of payments online. So James, I was at Safeway on 4th of July, and I wanted to get some beer. It's almost time for the fireworks. Get my beer, go to the line, it's about a 10-minute wait. Then the person in front of me, she's trying to get her discount, she's digging out her loyalty card, doesn't find it, she tries to put in her phone number, doesn't work. So probably about 15 minutes later, I'm finally out the store with my beer. How is PayPal going to make it easier for me to get beer?
Well, I think that's a great example where it's more than just doing payments at point of sale, but how do we actually make the experience better for people when they're doing purchases. And I had an experience where I was with PayPal's order ahead capability. I was leaving town. I had my daughters in tow, and I was trying to get out quickly, but they wanted to get some drinks, and I was able to actually with my PayPal app go into Jamba Juice, place an order, specify the time that I was going to be there, and I walked in with them. My drinks were ready. It was already paid for. I didn't have to pull anything out of my pocket. I skipped the line, and basically it was a fantastic experience, and it kicked off the start of a great weekend. But that's the kind of thing that we're doing is enabling new ways of paying at point of sale, and order ahead's one of them. In fact, you could try it at the Jamba Juice right down the street.
Now, was everybody jealous when you just walked up and skipped the whole line?
I think they were looking at how that happened.
Now, one of the things, you guys are making a very ambitious play into offline retail. You're working with the Home Depots of the world. We've had other companies, one of your key competitors just spent several $100 million in a couple years and really had nothing to show for it. How is PayPal going to be able to tackle this huge challenge of getting the big boxes working and delivering seamless experiences for customers?
Well, it's a huge opportunity, and what we see is what people want to do is people be able to pay online with their mobile device when they're in the store. So it's how does omni-channel actually come to life? And what we're able to leverage is the fact that we've already got a digital wallet. We already have all these payment vehicles in place. We've already built this global platform that country after country, we're in over 193 different regions, sporting over 25 currencies. So what we can do is we have this platform so that it's a chicken and the egg problem, right? You need enough customers and enough merchants to make it convenient for both. And we're basically taking what we've done online and using the same integration so that people can have a seamless experience and access their digital wallet when they walk into a Home Depot or they walk into a retailer. They've already got their account set up and provisioned, and they're used to it. And we're just making it more convenient to access that wallet through yet another channel. And we see these as all distinct channels, and we're after making fantastic experiences for those users.
Now, one thing you hear a lot of talk about in the mobile payment space is NFC. Google spent a lot of time working on that. Seems like they backed off from that. ISIS is supposedly working on that and may launch something. What are your thoughts on NFC?
I think a technology that was conceived and invented before where we are, before the technologies that we have today became as ubiquitous as they are today, given the lack of traction, that it's not going to be going anywhere soon. It is something where you've got to really solve a customer problem, and it doesn't actually solve a problem. I think they're much better technologies, and we have a much better opportunity with the innovation of all these devices and form factors to create even better experiences than what NFC can offer.
Do you expect Apple to play a part in the payments ecosystem beyond just offering a phone?
You know, Apple's famous for you don't quite know what they're going to do, but they, what we look at is we need to be able to access every single operating system, and we're channel agnostic. So consumers have multiple devices, multiple form factors. They come in through the web, they go into stores, and we need to make sure that these experiences work on all of those. I don't think one particular operating system will be able to dominate the entire landscape.
How important do you think tablets and other mobile devices are going to be for the retailers? how much are they going to use them for their point of sale systems versus their existing IBM systems or whatever else they're using today?
There's always a tiering of different classes of merchants, so large, medium, small, and there will absolutely be segments of the market where tablets are a fantastic solution. As their costs drop and they become more and more ubiquitous, it'll just be easy, but it will be just for a segment of the industry. And that's why it's important to approach this from a platform standpoint, right? Have fantastic experiences, but also build platforms, SDKs, and toolkits if you're a payment provider, so that you can be integrated into all of the other different experiences. And in addition, the industry is just really fragmented. What you might do in hospitality versus restaurants versus online, you need different capabilities. So one device won't take over.
Okay. Now, when PayPal launched, what was it, 15 years ago? Something like that. PayPal has long been the market leader, but if you look at who's getting the buzz in the payment space right now, at least in Silicon Valley, you hear companies like Square and Stripe, even Uber is kind of considered a payments company. How did PayPal lose its mojo?
It's a thing that we're being very direct and clear with is PayPal really innovated and defined a whole new space. In 2009, we were the first ones to open up our payment APIs, but we did slow down on our innovations, and we took our eye off the ball. And what we've done since then is we've got a new president, so David Marcus. We've got, I took over as the CTO position, and we've got a whole bunch of new people that are injecting innovation and aggressive approaches at how do we really create compelling new experiences for our customers and address some of the issues that we had created in the past. And I think you're going to see a whole new PayPal as we're reinventing our technologies, we're reinventing our products, and ultimately we're going to be reinventing the industry. And we're coming from a fantastic position of strength. But we admittedly got a little off course, but I think we're back on track.
I was in London recently and saw that you have a new product for micro merchants in London. It's a chip and pin reader that lets you scan EMV chips. It's something that you're essentially ahead of Square in a market that they created. They don't have EMV yet. And when I was talking to the PM there, he said basically they locked a few people in a room and they just went ahead and built it. And worked around all of the historical bureaucracy of PayPal. Is that the way going forward?
Absolutely. So we have created and restructured ourselves, and we now have small teams that are dedicated to a product, and they have a license to go do whatever they need to do to get something addressed. And that's where we get the power of our platform underneath, that we can enable a small team that can go into a country developing a new product and take advantage of all the power of the platform that we've built up. We have another example where we were creating a new iPad application, and the team started from when they started, made the decision to actually develop it to when they launched it was 30 days. And we went to market with a high quality, fantastic iPad app in 30 days, and that was previously at PayPal just unheard of. And that's the kind of unlocking of innovation that you're seeing now, where we're really empowering entrepreneurs to go aggressively at these new opportunities, and yet take advantage of the security that we built, the compliance that we've gone and worked with all of these different countries, and we abstract the complexity of payments away so that people can innovate and create those experiences.
Now, when a startup is looking at what they should use, there's multiple resources out there that they can use to do payments. They can do Stripe, they can do Braintree. Why should they use PayPal?
I think what you've got to look at is some of these other products are just new UIs on top of an existing payment network. What PayPal represents is the ability to reinvent that network. And so the experience we can provide is when you connect up to us, it's a global platform. So for example, if you needed to pay somebody in Australia today, right now, how would you do it?
I don't know.
Yeah, exactly. So we can enable you to make an immediate payment in 25 different currencies globally. And now with digital goods and more people getting their primary access through mobile, what's happening is across the world, you're seeing all these new constituents, all these new people suddenly can transact, both buying and selling. And if you're a merchant now, you can't just think of a particular region like I'm just going to support the US. You need to have an immediate global platform. And in the old days, you had time, as your business grew and got more visibility to slowly add things. That's not the case anymore. If you're successful, you're suddenly on this global playing field because the world has just gotten very small. And so what PayPal represents we're a processor and payment network that allows you to participate globally, both buying and selling, taking payments and sending payments, unlike any other company. And we've handled all of the security, risk, compliance, all the things that you don't want to deal with when you're thinking about global payments and currency conversions and regulations. We just want you to be able to innovate with your particular application, create compelling experiences for your customers, and we handle all of the complexity.
Now, one of the areas that PayPal has gotten a bad reputation for, and I think to a large degree deserved, is customer service. Merchants have complained about having their accounts locked, not being able to get access to their money. Consumers have been complaining about not being able to access customer service or get refunds or that type of thing. Is PayPal's reputation deserved, and what is PayPal doing to change it?
So we have done some things where I think we came in a little heavy-handed and were too restrictive, and we're aggressively working to improve that. I would say that to counter that, though, what you don't hear about are the counter stories. So for example, sometimes there may be somebody putting on a conference for the first time, and we can enable that person to take payments, sell everything, set it up and run. But sometimes, perhaps they don't quite know what they're doing, and they run out of money, and suddenly the thing folds, and all these people who paid for those tickets are out of luck. If they paid through PayPal, we actually stand behind that customer and we reimburse them. And so you don't hear about all the cases where somebody went belly up and we reimbursed all of these customers. And so what happened over the years, though, is we started finding algorithms and other things to identify very high-risk situations where there's an entrepreneur or somebody doing something for the first time. And we started getting a little restrictive because we don't want to have to refund all this money. But we overdid it in some places. And so it's finding that right balance of protecting the buyer and yet enabling that seller who, there are very few companies that you can go to without a track record, without a lot of background, and be able to start taking payments immediately. And that's the problem we're solving. So what we're doing is we're bringing more advanced algorithms, more science to be able to have a fantastic, safe experience both for merchants and sellers and loosen up some of the restrictions that we put in place. So ultimately, we can continue to allow everyone to innovate in the marketplace.
Now, our brains are being rewired to expect things faster. When I go to Amazon, I can just put things on my shopping cart, hit click, done. Eventually it shows up. I'm never waiting in line for things. Do you think offline retail will get to the point where it's going to match the convenience of online?
Absolutely. In certain cases, we can enable that. My example of ordering ahead, where you can just walk in and leave. You could, basically, everybody's walking around with these very advanced computing devices with Moore's Law and all of the innovation happening. It's just going to get better and better and more powerful. And I think we're just on the cusp of some fantastic innovations that are going to just transform that experience.
Can I walk in, scan my beer, hit pay, and walk out?
Yes, you can.
When can I do that?
As soon as we're happy to work with a retailer that wants to make that experience possible.
Oh, great. Thank you so much, James.
Great.